So I want you to just imagine your absolute darkest secret.
Oh boy.
Yeah, right? The one thing you have fought tooth and nail to keep totally buried.
The relationship ender.
Exactly. Now imagine a literal countdown clock just ticking down to 0, and when it hits, that exact secret is broadcast directly to the phone of every single person you know.
Oh, that's just a nightmare.
Family, friends, rivals, teachers, everyone. That is like the precise suffocating nightmare we are jumping into today.
It really is the ultimate modern anxiety, isn't it?
Right.
Like the complete loss of control over your own reality.
Oh, 100%. And that is the engine driving the source material we are dissecting right now. So we're doing a deep dive into a story called Diamond Heights, the Prom Situation.
Right.
And our mission here isn't just to, recap the plot for you. We want to really pull back the curtain on this thing and look at the gears.
Yeah, see how it actually works.
Exactly. We're going to deconstruct the narrative flow, figure out the exact genre we are actually dealing with here, and identify the specific target audience this story was engineered to affect.
Which is important because, on the surface, Diamond Heights, the prom situation, well, it sounds like it's going to be about dress shopping and awkward corsage pinnings.
Totally, like a CW show from the 2000s.
Right. But we need to look past that superficial layer. We are examining the structural mechanics of a narrative that is, frankly, designed to systematically dismantle its characters.
It really is. Okay, let's get you grounded before we start tearing it apart.
Good idea.
So, the entire story takes place over a highly compressed timeline. It's just a few days in late May of 2026.
Very tight window.
Yeah. And we are in the affluent, totally pressure cooker town of Diamond Heights. The focus is a tight-knit group of elite students, literally dubbed the stars of the high school.
Modest.
Right. And we drop in right as the 48-hour countdown to their senior prom begins.
The ticking clock.
Exactly. And the chaos is entirely orchestrated by an anonymous entity known only as the Secret Teller, who uses an encrypted number to basically weaponize these kids' most toxic secrets against them.
And the immediacy of that setup is just striking. Like, there is no gentle preamble here.
No, not at all.
The narrative just drops you into the deep end of a highly volatile ecosystem right from the first page.
Which means we really need to figure out what kind of ecosystem we're actually looking at.
Right. Before we can track how this thing explodes, we have to label the beast.
So what is the genre here? Because reading through the source material, I kept expecting a typical teen drama, but it doesn't feel like Gossip Girl.
No, not at all.
To me, it actually feels closer to a horror movie. But instead of, a monster hiding in the closet, the monster is just a smartphone buzzing in your pocket.
I'd actually push it even further.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think applying the teen drama label actively misrepresents what the narrative is doing.
Okay, how so?
If we look at the actual architecture of the story, this is a young adult psychological thriller. And it's utilizing the aesthetic of a contemporary high school drama as a disguise.
Oh, like a Trojan horse.
Precisely.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks familiar. You have the agonizing over limo rentals and the social politics of the cafeteria.
Right.
But inside that familiar shell, the story operates on the mechanics of a thriller. It's specifically dealing with surveillance, paranoia, and the complete destruction of identity.
I see the thriller elements, definitely, but I want to push back on how unique that actually is.
Okay, go for it.
Because, a lot of high school stories have a ticking clock or some kind of anonymous gossip blogger. What elevates this from just a dramatic mystery into an actual psychological thriller?
Well, it's about the psychological toll and the deliberate subversion of expectations.
Oh, okay.
Think about classic thriller elements, right?
Yeah.
You have an unseen antagonist, a ticking clock, and a pervasive sense of paranoia. The Secret Teller functions exactly like a shadowy mastermind in an espionage novel. The 48 hours to prom isn't just a deadline for a party.
It's a bomb timer.
Exactly. It's a narrative pressure valve that is constantly tightening. The characters aren't just gossiping, they're analyzing every glance, they're second-guessing everyone's motives.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. It reads like a Cold War spy narrative, but the operatives are like navigating third-period biology instead of a checkpoint in Berlin.
And the narrative actively subverts the tropes we usually rely on to feel safe in those high school stories.
Like what?
Well, take a character like Vincent Young.
Right, Vincent is fascinating. He's introduced as the star athlete, conventionally handsome, very popular.
Exactly. In a standard drama, a character with those traits is usually placed into one of two rigid boxes.
Let me guess. The dumb jock or the secret villain?
Exactly. He's either the oblivious, somewhat dense jock who doesn't understand the complex heroine, or he's the guy who puts on a good face for the crowd, but is secretly abusive behind closed doors.
Yeah, those are pretty much the standard options.
But the subversion here is that Vincent is the unwavering moral center of the group.
He genuinely is. I mean, he works at his older brother's limo company. He is incredibly loyal to his family, and his devotion to his girlfriend, Rachel, is just completely earnest.
Right.
He isn't hiding some dark side. He is just a decent person who ends up trapped in this web of absolute deceit.
Which raises the stakes immensely. I mean, if the jock is actually innocent and morally grounded, the reader's compass is thrown off.
Yeah, it really is.
And then you look at Christy DaCosta, Rachel's older sister, and the reigning senior prom queen.
Oh, man. Yeah, the prom queen is usually the airheaded mean girl who gets publicly humiliated, or maybe the tragic victim of the school's social hierarchy.
Right. But Christy is revealed to be a vigilante mastermind.
She really is.
She doesn't fall from grace. She is the one orchestrating the systematic destruction of her own sister and her peers.
It's so dark.
She's the architect of the trauma. So the narrative takes those anticipated high school archetypes and turns them into something deeply unsettling.
And the weapon she uses grounds the whole thing in this very specific near-future reality.
Yes.
There's the subgenre operating here that we have to talk about, the tech paranoia thriller.
Definitely.
Because the fear in this story doesn't come from a masked killer or a supernatural curse. It comes from the piece of technology sitting on your desk right now.
And the realism of that threat is what makes it a psychological thriller. It relies heavily on very modern anxieties.
There is a scene in Chapter 5 that absolutely cements this for me.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah. So CJ Crest, who is just an aggressively toxic boyfriend to Rose Bolton, has his secrets exposed.
Brutally exposed.
A video compilation of him cheating with multiple girls over the course of 3 months gets leaked to the entire school group chat at like 2 in the morning.
Just devastating.
And the next day, he shows up at Rose's house to do damage control. He's literally pounding on her front door.
But listen to his excuse.
Exactly. His excuse it wasn't me or we were on a break. He screams through the wood that the video is an AI deepfake.
And that detail is the absolute linchpin of the tech paranoia subgenre.
Right.
Saying it's an AI deepfake pushes the conflict past a soapy he said, she said argument and forces the narrative to confront the total erosion of objective truth.
Because, I mean, in a world where AI deepfakes are easily accessible, how do you actually prove what is real?
You can't, really.
And CJ is guilty as sin, but he exploits this very real, very modern societal anxiety to basically gaslight Rose.
Yes.
He uses the existence of the technology as a shield for his own infidelity.
He weaponizes the ambiguity of digital media.
Yeah.
And that grounds the thriller elements in a tangible fear that any modern reader understands perfectly.
Absolutely.
The high school setting isn't being used for nostalgia here. It's a microcosm for massive societal anxieties about privacy, truth, and digital surveillance.
So we are definitely dealing with a YA tech paranoia thriller. And understanding that framework is vital because it dictates exactly how the tension has to be paced.
The pacing is key.
Which brings us to the actual mechanics of the story's flow, because the author builds this pressure cooker, and the pacing is incredibly aggressive from the jump.
You see the foundation of that paranoia laid out immediately.
Right in the first paragraph.
Yeah.
I mean, we are hit with the stifling humidity of Diamond Heights and the fact that prom is 48 hours away.
The countdown is established before we even know who these people are.
Yes.
And that ticking clock provides the spine of the narrative flow. It ensures that every single action, every conversation carries this massive sense of urgency.
It really does.
A lingering glance in the hallway isn't just teenage awkwardness anymore. It is a liability with a literal expiration date.
And that tension detonates almost immediately, like end of first period on Thursday, May 27th.
The inciting incident.
Exactly. The bell rings, and it's not just one phone going off. It's dozens of phones in the hallway, all pinging simultaneously. The secret teller drops their opening salvo.
And it's so precise.
The source material words it so sharply. It says, Diamond Heights thinks it's all glitter and corsages. But some of you are wearing masks better than you wear your tuxedos. Rachel, does Vincent know who you were looking at in the hall? Anthony, does D'Amica know about those late-night study sessions?
Chilling.
Right. And it ends with, the clock is ticking. By Saturday night, the truth will be the only thing left standing. See you at prom.
That text is just a masterstroke of narrative economy.
I agree.
In just a few sentences, the antagonist establishes their omniscience, outlines the Saturday night deadline, and drops two highly targeted bombs right into the core relationships of the group.
The way I see that opening move, it's basically like dropping a lit match into a room entirely filled with gasoline.
That's a great analogy.
Because the conflict isn't being built from scratch here, these relationships are already incredibly combustible.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The powder keg was already full.
Think about the dynamics at play before the text even arrives. Rachel is physically hugging Vincent, but her eyes are tracking Anthony down the hall.
Right.
Anthony is exchanging these deliberate, risky nods with her. CJ is already a serial cheater. Chris Peoples is already festering with this long-standing jealousy.
Garrod is already there.
Exactly. The text is just the spark.
The conflict is entirely internal to the group before it is externalized by the digital threat.
Right.
And how the narrative handles the immediate aftermath of that spark completely subverts standard thriller pacing.
How so?
Well, usually when a group is threatened by an anonymous antagonist, the immediate reaction is to circle the wagons.
Like, team up against the bad guy.
Exactly. They band together to find the culprit, creating a clear us versus them dynamic.
But not these kids.
No, the text immediately and violently fractures them. The pressure acts like an acid on whatever loyalty they pretended to have.
Look at the cafeteria scene right after the text drops. That scene is brutal.
It's incredibly tense.
Rose Bolton is sitting at a corner table with red-rimmed eyes, and she tentatively asks CJ about a heart emoji she saw from a girl named Tiffany on his lock screen.
She's terrified to even ask.
Yeah, she's almost whispering, saying she doesn't want to start a fight.
And CJ's reaction is to escalate instantly.
He literally slams his phone down on the table so hard that people around them physically jump.
Typical abuser tactic.
He causes this massive scene, calls her insecure, says she's exhausting him, and just storms off, blaming her for trying to ruin prom.
It's pure deflection.
He uses the heightened anxiety caused by the secret teller as a smokescreen to aggressively manipulate her and avoid accountability.
And this character focus is essential to understanding the flow. The secret teller isn't creating the toxicity, they are merely illuminating it.
That's such a good point.
And while CJ is deflecting, you have a character like Chris Peoples watching this chaos unfold from the sidelines.
Ugh, Chris.
But Chris doesn't react with fear or concern. He reacts with pure opportunism.
Chris is such an uncomfortable character to read.
He really is.
He's had this simmering obsession with D'Amica Hill since, like, the 3rd grade. And the second the text drops, he sees leverage.
Yep.
He leans over to D'Amica's cousin in the cafeteria and starts whispering poison, trying to convince her that Anthony is a dog and the secret teller is actually telling the truth.
So Chris functions as a secondary antagonist here.
Yeah.
He isn't the one sending the texts, but he acts as an accelerant. He weaponizes the anonymous threat for his own gain.
Right.
And this naturally transitions the narrative flow from public, generalized paranoia to highly targeted private terror.
And that shift is so methodical.
Very deliberate.
The public threat makes everyone a suspect, but the private threat isolates the characters completely.
It cuts them off from their support systems.
Like when Rachel goes to the park to meet D'Amica, ostensibly they're supposed to talk about prom shoes.
But really?
But really, Rachel is on a recon mission. She is acting as a spy within her own friendship to figure out what D'Amica actually knows.
And that's when things get really dark.
Yeah, when she finds D'Amica staring at a private message from the secret teller, the reality of the situation hits her like a truck.
Because the private message isn't just a vague text.
No.
It's a photograph of the back of Anthony's car parked at the lake from the night before.
And Rachel realizes with absolute horror that she was the one in that car with Anthony.
The stakes just skyrocket.
The threat has evolved from abstract cafeteria gossip into literal photographic proof of her specific betrayal.
The psychological weight placed on Rachel in this scene is immense.
It has to be crushing.
She is forced to stand there, comforting her best friend, telling her it's probably a Photoshop fake,
Oh, the irony.
while knowing full well she is the architect of her friend's impending devastation. The internal conflict skyrockets because she is forced to play the hypocrite in real time.
And physically, the scene is suffocating, too.
Oh, definitely.
While Rachel is lying to D'Amica, Chris Peoples is literally lurking in the trees at the edge of the park, pointing his phone at them.
It's so creepy.
It's visual confirmation that they are constantly under surveillance. The walls are just closing in.
Which is exactly how the narrative flow shifts into its next gear.
Right.
As we move into Friday night and Saturday morning, The physical spaces the characters occupy begin to shrink, intentionally escalating the psychological tension.
And Friday night becomes this incredibly cinematic sequence.
It really does.
It reads less like a drama and more like a bomb defusal scene in an action movie.
Yes, the pacing is incredible.
Rachel is at her house. Anthony, who is like addicted to the thrill of the secret, is idling at her curb in his black sedan. He texts her to come outside. 5 minutes.
But simultaneously, the secret teller intervenes.
The secret teller texts Rachel a literal 120-second countdown.
Talk about a ticking clock.
The message tells her that her devoted boyfriend, Vincent, is pulling up early with her white orchid corsage as a surprise.
The panic.
It says, who gets to the porch first, the boyfriend or the mistake? You have 120 seconds to choose. The panic is just unadulterated.
The structural design here takes a deeply internal emotional conflict, Rachel's torn loyalties, and externalizes it into a physical race against time.
It's brilliant.
The pacing matches her 110 beat per minute heart rate. She sprints down the stairs, bursts out the front door.
And then the headlights.
Yes, the headlights of Vincent's truck sweep across the driveway at the exact moment Anthony's taillights disappear around the corner.
It's a literal near-miss collision of her two lives.
It's a great visual.
And the imagery the author uses is so stark. Vincent is holding this pristine white orchid, which is, the universal symbol of purity and genuine affection.
Right.
And Rachel is standing on her porch, drenched in adrenaline, deceit, and guilt. And Vincent, who isn't stupid, asks her directly, was that Anthony's car?
And her response is the critical fracture point.
She lies straight to his face.
Yeah.
She claims it was a delivery guy who got the wrong address. But the text explicitly notes that she can see the trust in Vincent's eyes flicker for the very first time.
The narrative is showing us these microscopic hairline fractures in their foundation before the building collapses.
Exactly.
And that near miss sets the stage for the breaking point on Saturday morning. The narrative moves from threats to actual irreversible execution.
The point of no return.
Right. At 2 a.m., the secret teller leaks the compilation video of CJ's infidelities to the entire school. The damage is permanent and entirely public.
And the fallout for Rose is just heartbreaking. She wakes up to 1,000 notifications.
It's every teenager's worst nightmare.
She cancels her hair appointment, blocks his number, and just sits on the floor of her foyer, clutching her prom dress while CJ screams his deepfake excuses through the door.
The contrast there is so sad.
You can feel her desperation to just have her perfect night. The comfortable lie feels so much safer than the devastating truth.
Concurrently, Chris Peoples bypasses the public forum entirely.
Oh, right.
He directly messages D'Amica, claiming he has a video of Rachel and Anthony at the lake, and threatening to show her at the dance if she doesn't ditch Anthony for him.
The threats are literally coming from every direction. But here's something I want to unpack about the structure.
Okay.
Why does the narrative unload all of these massive revelations and ultimatums before they even get to the dance?
That's a good question.
Like, if the climax is at the prom, doesn't that make the limo ride just a transitional filler scene?
On the contrary, actually.
Really?
By loading the characters with this highly toxic radioactive knowledge before they get in the car, the physical space of the limo is transformed from a luxury vehicle into a pressure chamber.
Oh, I see. It's like a beautifully upholstered submarine.
That's exactly it.
They are trapped in this pressurized cabin thousands of miles below the surface, and the hull is just groaning under the weight of these secrets.
And the proximity is what makes it so awful.
Right. You have Rachel, Vincent, Anthony, and D'Amica crammed shoulder to shoulder.
In a closed space.
Anthony is glaring at his phone. D'Amica is forcing this bright, tight smile. And Vincent is trying to force normal conversation.
And driving the car is Leroy, Vincent's older brother, acting as the completely oblivious protector.
Poor Leroy.
He promised to keep them safe, completely unaware that he is chauffeuring a ticking time bomb.
It's so tense.
And the pacing intentionally slows down here. The rapid-fire texting stops. The prose becomes thick. The silence in that limo is described as deafening.
Anthony actually suggests they just sit in quiet instead of playing music over the Bluetooth.
Which just makes it worse.
And the air becomes completely unbreathable. And right in the middle of this agonizing dead air, Rachel feels her evening bag vibrate.
The secret teller again.
She gets a text. But it's not a threat about Saturday night. The text notes her exact physiological state, her 110 BPM heart rate.
So invasive.
It points out that Anthony's hand is resting exactly 6 inches away from hers on the leather seat. and it warns her that Vincent is watching her reflection in the tinted window.
The omniscient surveillance reaches its absolute peak in that moment.
It's terrifying.
The level of granular detail forces the reader, and Rachel, to realize that the secret teller is intimately aware of their micro-movements within a closed, moving vehicle.
Yeah.
It implies the threat is either hacked into their devices to an extreme degree, or they're literally in the car with them.
The paranoia is just at a fever pitch. The narrative flow has constricted from the sprawling high school hallways down to a confined space measured in inches.
Which perfectly sets up the inevitable explosion at the prom itself.
Absolutely.
And the way this climax is structured, it isn't just one dramatic shout across a dance floor. It is a sequence of rapid-fire detonations that systematically destroy every single relationship.
It operates like an avalanche.
Yes. The first sequence happens on the red carpet at the Diamond Heights Country Club. The setting is utilized to maximize the potential damage.
Because they pull up to the circular drive. Velvet ropes, underclassmen cheering, parents blinding them with camera flashes.
Highly visible.
They are placed in the most public, highly scrutinized environment possible. They are expected to perform the illusion of the stars.
And right in the middle of this flashbulb frenzy, Chris Peoples intercepts D'Amica.
Of course he does.
He steps right into her path, wearing a white tuxedo that makes him look entirely predatory against the glitz of the event. He ignores Anthony completely and threatens D'Amica with the smoking gun video. He tells her he has it ready to go. One tap.
He's awful.
He implies he might just air it on the projector during dinner if she doesn't comply.
And the denial is staggering. Anthony tries to charm his way out of it, telling D'Amica that Chris is just a desperate liar.
Deny, deny, deny.
And Vincent, playing the peacekeeper, grabs Rachel's hand and physically pulls them inside to escape the confrontation. But the narrative affords them zero relief.
None.
The moment they step into the lobby, every phone in the room chimes in unison.
The whole room.
The secret teller has announced that a special in memoriam section for their reputations has been added to the program beneath their seats. There is no safe harbor anywhere.
And this relentless pressure funnels directly into the ballroom confrontation at VIP Table 1.
The epicenter.
Exactly. They are seated under crystal chandeliers, the absolute epicenter of the event.
Yeah.
And the reveals are staggered, creating this agonizing slow-motion execution.
It starts so casually, too.
Yeah.
Vincent looks across the table and asks Anthony, "Why did you have Rachel's physics notebook in your car yesterday?"
Just a simple question.
He spotted it in the backseat of Anthony's car while they were riding in the limo, and the table just freezes.
The tension is incredible.
Rachel fumbles, trying to construct a lie about studying for a final. But D'Amica immediately catches the fatal flaw.
She knows better.
Rachel hates physics. And more importantly, Rachel had canceled a study session with D'Amica that exact same afternoon, claiming she had a blinding migraine.
Notice the structural choice there.
What do you mean?
The author uses a physical prop, the physics notebook, as the first piece of concrete evidence. The threat transitions from abstract digital texts into undeniable physical reality.
Oh, that makes sense.
The web of lies unravels right over the dinner plates.
And then CJ chimes in. He's still trying to deflect from his own massive cheating scandal, so he mocks Rachel, saying, "Migraines in physics, that's a new one."
The group dynamic turns entirely cannibalistic.
That's the perfect word for it.
They're willing to tear each other apart just to deflect the heat for a few seconds.
And then the environment itself turns hostile.
Yes,
The lights in the ballroom dim for the traditional Senior Memories slideshow.
but it's not the normal slideshow.
No, the projector's hijacked, the music cuts out.
And a grainy night vision video of the lake begins to play silently on the massive screen.
It shows a black sedan, two people locked in a highly compromising embrace.
The resolution isn't perfect, but
But the emerald dress that Rachel is currently wearing right there at table 1 is unmistakable.
the entire ballroom gasps.
The threat of public humiliation that Chris Peoples leveraged actually comes to pass, but on an unavoidable scale.
The escalation from a tense whisper about a notebook to a cinematic broadcast of the ultimate betrayal is incredibly effective.
It really is.
But the final fatal blow is yet to come.
Here's where it gets really interesting. This is the most devastating mechanical choice in the story.
I completely agree.
After the video plays, the secret teller sends a text instructing D'Amica to look under the table.
Just brutal.
She reaches under the tablecloth, and her hand finds a small velvet jewelry box physically taped to the underside of the table.
It's a heart-shaped locket that Anthony claimed he had lost months ago.
But when she snaps it open, the picture inside isn't D'Amica, it's Rachel.
That physical locket is the coup de grace.
It really is.
I mean, you cannot claim a physical locket taped beneath your seat is an AI deepfake.
Right.
You cannot blame it on a bad camera angle. It is tactile evidence planted right beneath their feet by someone who had physical access to their table.
The illusion is completely dead.
Yes.
And the immediate fallout is stunning because of what doesn't happen. The narrative could have easily had Vincent flip the table, start a brawl, and shout at Anthony.
That would be the cliche.
But his reaction is quiet, which makes it so much more devastating.
He radiates this cold, vibrating rage.
Yeah. He dismantles Anthony verbally, stating simply, "You stayed in my house, you sat at my table, you called me your brother."
Oof.
And then he turns to Rachel.
And this detail broke me. He tells her he was going to propose to her tonight.
Not marriage, but a promise ring.
Right. He pulls this small gold band out of his tuxedo pocket, a physical manifestation of a promised perfect future, and he simply drops it into the table's centerpiece.
Such powerful image.
It lands with a splash in the punch bowl and sinks to the bottom. It poetically represents the death of the perfect high school romance, drowned and tarnished.
It's a powerful metaphor for the entirety of Diamond Heights, really.
Yeah.
The heavy, submerged reality ruining the pristine surface. And as the group splinters, the secret teller sends one final invitation to the parking lot for the ultimate reveal.
Which brings us to the final phase of the narrative flow. The twist, the aftermath, and the epilogue.
The twist is a big one.
The parking lot scene is shrouded in mist, the street lamps casting long shadows. It feels like the desolate aftermath of a war zone.
Very atmospheric. The fractured group gathers by the Escalade. They ask Leroy where the secret teller is. And a voice steps out of the shadows. You're looking at him.
But it isn't Leroy.
No, it's Christy DaCosta, the senior prom queen, Rachel's own older sister.
And this twist forces a complete recontextualization of everything we've just read.
Totally.
The psychology behind her motives is deeply disturbing.
Okay, I want to debate her motive for a second.
Go, cool.
Because when she explains herself, she claims they were all rot.
Her exact word.
She says she needed to give Diamond Heights a wake-up call because they were making a mockery of the school's fairy tale image and ruining the family name.
Right.
She almost paints herself as a harsh moral crusader cleaning up the streets. Was she actually acting out of a twisted sense of justice?
I don't buy the moral crusader angle for a second.
Really?
Not at all. If we analyze her actions, it points directly to a raging narcissist who wanted to play God. Her hubris is terrifying.
That's a good point.
She didn't orchestrate this to heal anyone or to fix the rot. She destroyed her sister's life. She destroyed Vincent, who was undeniably innocent. And she ruined Rose's prom simply because she had the proximity and the technological capability to do so.
She did it because she was bored and she could.
Exactly. The most chilling line she delivers is when she states she knew they would all be too busy blaming each other to ever realize it was her.
It's so cold.
It reveals a calculated sociopathy. She leveraged their inherent flaws and paranoia against them, directing their destruction from a pedestal of pure arrogance.
And then she doesn't even face the consequences.
No, she walks right away.
She hops into the passenger seat of the limo. Leroy, who looks at the group with absolute crushing disappointment, takes Vincent with him to protect him, and they drive away.
Leaving the rest behind.
They leave the rest of them standing in this misty parking lot while the muffled, upbeat music of the prom plays in the distance. It is such a bleak cinematic image.
And that bleakness bleeds directly into the falling action. The frenetic pacing grinds to a complete halt. Sunday morning is just hollow.
The physical environment mirrors the emotional devastation so well. Rachel wakes up, and that unmistakable emerald dress is just a crumpled heap on the floor. It's described as a dead skin she had shed.
The house is completely silent.
Her parents are dealing with the administration, and Christy has fled to the city, leaving a note saying someone had to be the adult.
The irony.
The silence is a stark, punishing contrast to the constant pinging of phones over the last 48 hours.
And Rachel, driven by this immense guilt, goes to Leroy's garage to apologize to Vincent.
And what she finds is profound.
Very.
Vincent isn't throwing things or yelling. He is methodically, physically tearing the leather upholstery out of the interior of the white Escalade.
Raising the memory.
He is trying to scrub the physical memory of that night out of the vehicle. Leroy physically blocks Rachel from entering, telling her bluntly that she broke him.
And Vincent just stares at her from inside the garage with vacant eyes.
The narrative flow here enforces a harsh reality.
Right.
An apology does not magically repair a shattered foundation. There is no quick fix.
This culminates at the senior sunset bonfire on Memorial Day, which really serves as the story's anticlimax.
Yeah, the fire is burning, but the energy is entirely extinguished.
CJ is isolated.
And Rose arrives with new friends, completely immune to CJ's pathetic attempts to win her back.
Rose's moment is incredible there.
It is. She tells CJ directly that she spent 3 years letting him make her feel small so he could feel big, and that the secret teller actually did her a favor.
It is a moment of profound empowerment rising from the ashes of public humiliation.
And D'Amica's resolution is equally definitive.
Anthony and Chris are still hovering near the fire, fighting over her like a prize.
With Anthony lunging at Chris and blaming him.
But D'Amica cuts through the noise.
She rejects both of them.
Yes.
She tells Anthony he cheated and lied, and she tells Chris he used her pain and humiliation just to try and secure a date.
She recognizes the deep toxicity in both options.
She looks at the splintered group and says, "We were supposed to be the best of the best, but we're just a bunch of secrets and lies."
And she turns her back and walks toward the ocean.
The constellation of the stars is permanently dead.
The narrative literally leaves us with ashes.
Which makes the 1 year later epilogue so resonant, it refuses to offer a Hollywood ending.
It is incredibly realistic and tragic.
Let's look at where they end up. CJ lost his athletic scholarship because of his locker room fights and anger issues. He's at a local community college, still trying to convince anyone who will listen that the videos were manipulated.
Still lying.
Rose Bolton blossomed, though. She's a psychology major at a top university, running a blog for young women about recognizing emotional abuse. She turned her trauma into a platform.
Anthony is working construction. The thrill of betrayal, long gone.
And D'Amica is studying fashion design in Atlanta, completely removed from the drama.
And the core trio.
Vincent took over the limo company. He became the stable man his brother knew he could be, but he carries a lasting scar. He is slow to trust, and he keeps that tarnished gold promise ring in his glove box as a permanent reminder.
And Christy?
Christy, the mastermind, suffered 0 consequences.
None.
In a darkly ironic twist, she is thriving in the city as a PR crisis manager, specializing in brand integrity. She won.
Which leaves Rachel.
The girl who tried to juggle 2 lives is now living half of one. She stayed in Diamond Heights for a gap year, working at a quiet local library, very isolated.
And every year on the anniversary of the prom.
She goes to the lake, sits in her car, and watches her phone, half expecting a message from an unknown number.
But the secret teller is silent.
The narrative flow ends on a lingering note. It argues forcefully that some actions have unalterable consequences, and that living with the truth is vastly harder than hiding it.
The pacing takes us from an unsustainable illusion through a violent destruction and leaves us in a fragmented reality where everyone has to carry their scars.
So having dissected the genre and tracked this incredible narrative flow, we have to synthesize these elements to answer our final question.
Okay.
Who is this story actually built for? Like, who is the ideal target audience for this specific brand of devastation?
It's a crucial question because the mechanics of the story target a very distinct demographic, despite dealing with universal themes of coming of age.
Well, my immediate read is that the heavy reliance on texting mechanics, the fast pacing, and the high school setting clearly target Gen Z and young adults.
Definitely.
The crushing pressure of college scholarships, the anxiety of prom courts, these are universal YA touchstones. It speaks the language of a generation that communicates entirely through screens.
Where a read receipt left on scene can cause a genuine panic attack.
Exactly.
I would refine that further, though.
How so?
It is for YA readers, but specifically, it is for readers who are actively navigating the fragile complexities of digital identity.
Ah, right. The dichotomy between the public image smiling for the cameras on the red carpet and the private reality of the betrayal in the back of the sedan.
Exactly. The narrative utilizes encrypted messaging apps, Bluetooth hacking, and the pervasive paranoia of AI deepfakes.
Yeah.
These aren't just clever plot devices. They reflect the lived reality of a generation raised entirely on smartphones.
That makes total sense.
This audience intuitively understands that digital privacy is largely an illusion. They know that a single screenshot or a leaked video can dismantle a reputation overnight.
So the story validates that underlying anxiety.
Yes, turning the everyday fear of, what if someone hacked my DMs into a high-stakes psychological thriller?
And there is a vital secondary audience here as well, I think.
Who's that?
Survivors of toxic relationships, or really anyone interested in deep character studies about gaslighting.
Oh, because of Rose.
Yeah, Rose Bolton's journey is pivotal. Anyone who has ever been made to feel crazy by a manipulative partner will see themselves in Rose.
Her arc is incredibly satisfying.
From crying on the floor over a boyfriend who blames deepfakes, to an empowered psychology major fighting emotional abuse. It provides a roadmap for surviving psychological warfare.
It demonstrates that the destruction of the illusion, while incredibly painful, is ultimately necessary for genuine growth.
Yeah.
The target audience is anyone who suspects that the perfectly curated lives they see on social media are hiding a much darker, messier reality.
So let's recap the journey we've taken today.
We covered a lot of ground.
We've examined how this narrative constructs a flow that begins with a single encrypted text and escalates relentlessly.
Utilizing confined physical spaces and extreme psychological pressure.
Right, to completely decimate a social hierarchy. We've identified how it subverts standard teen drama tropes to operate as a YA tech paranoia thriller.
And we've established that it is engineered for a digitally native audience grappling with the fragility of their online identities.
It really uses the familiar setting of a high school prom to explore deeply unsettling themes of surveillance, hubris, and the inescapable nature of truth.
It's a heavy read, but a necessary one.
Before we wrap up this deep dive into the source material, I want to leave you with a lingering thought.
Okay.
Think back to Christy DaCosta's justification in that misty parking lot. Her claim that she wasn't destroying anything, she was just exposing the rot that was already there.
Right.
In a world where every single one of us curates our perfect lives on social media, heavily filtering our photos and hiding our flaws,
It makes you wonder.
are we all just one leaked group chat away from our own prom situation?
That's a scary thought.
And if your deepest, darkest secrets were broadcast on a projector tomorrow, who would actually be left standing next to you?
A terrifying but necessary question to consider as we navigate these spaces.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Stay curious, stay vigilant, and maybe double check your lock screen. We'll catch you next time.